Hi, this is Bill Bronchick, and in this video I'd like to discuss with you the price that you should set your resale property at. That is a property that you bought for resale, probably fixed up, put it on the market with a real estate agent or broker, put it on the MLS, and now you're going to sell it for the maximum price possible while also trying to sell it quickly. And that's a nice little balance. Obviously, if you want to get top dollar, you price it high. If you want to sell it fast, price it low. But it's not quite that simple. The fact is, you have to first survey what your competition looks like. Now, an appraisal is not necessarily what the property is worth. What the property is worth is what someone's willing to pay for it in a reasonable period of time, and that is going to be determined by your market. So, for example, if houses are moving on average days on market in your particular neighborhood, let's say it's 30 days, and 30 days is okay with you, then we're going to price it according to what the competition is. If the average time on market is, let's say, 6 months and you want to move it in 30 days, we have to determine at what price that we're going to be able to move it in 30 days or less. And this is going to take a little bit of help from a real estate agent or broker plus some input on your side. Now, when you list a property, you're using what's called a listing broker or listing agent. And a listing agent typically gets paid, somewhere between 5 to 6%, and then they split their commission with the buyer's agent, the one that procures the buyer. So typically your listing agent's looking at 3% or 2% for the listing fee, and then the buyer's agent gets 3% or so for the buying, bringing the buyer to the table. Now, if you're going to pay a listing agent, by the way, 3%, which is really full commission, the most important thing that that agent can do is position the property properly. And that isn't always going to be the agent's specialty. You may have to give some input that you're going to learn in this video. First of all, you got to make sure you have great pictures. I mean great, not cell phone camera crap. I'm not talking about a cheap camera. I'm talking about hiring a professional person to get real good shots. It's amazing how many of these pictures you see on the MLS, if there's even a picture. Unbelievable sin. But a picture where someone's standing across the street and half of the picture is the road in front of the house. Ugh, ugly. So you want to get a tight shot of the house from a 3/4, 2/3 angle to give it a little depth, from kneeling down, looking up to make it look like it's bigger, and make sure you take pictures on a cloudy day, not a sunny day. You can always Photoshop the picture and make the sky look blue. You want to make sure there's no shadows, so take a picture when there are no shadows. That means on a cloudy day. You want to get good shots of the inside. If the rooms are small, use a wide-angle lens to make them appear bigger with more depth. Make sure that the property is staged before you take the pictures. That is, it has a little bit of furniture and artwork and tchotchkes and things. It doesn't have to be all furniture, but don't take a picture of an empty bedroom. It doesn't really do anything for the person looking. The most important thing, besides the price being positioned right, is to make sure that your property has virtual appeal. Virtual appeal. That is, when people look online, and most people look online first, and then they hire a real estate broker or agent. So you want to make sure that when people see your property on Realtor.com or whatever website that you're listing it on, that it looks dynamite and invites people in to want to go and look at the inside of your property. Assuming that's all done properly, you got to also make sure you have a really good flyer and a good flyer box that's always full. Another sin that real estate agents and brokers do, leaving it empty, so that people, when they pick up the flyer, they're probably going to show it to a friend or neighbor or someone, a relative, or someone they know at work. So you want to make sure that flyer has those great pictures and information as well. Now, let's get to the pricing. Pricing should not be the cheapest. And your house, by the way, does not have to be the nicest. It's got to be the best value compared to the competition that's currently on the market. Once someone has decided that they want to go in your neighborhood, then it's just a matter of them buying what's the best value for the money. Some houses they might just fall in love with and buy the most expensive. That's true. But most people are sensible. Most people buy the best value. That means if you rated your competition, looking at 3, 4 houses that are for sale, and rated them on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best value, not the cheapest, not the most expensive, not the nicest, but the best bang for the buck, yours should be almost a 5 if you want to sell yours quickly or quicker than the competition does, especially if time on market in that neighborhood is really, really long. In that case, you're obviously going to be the cheapest. But assuming that days on market in that neighborhood is reasonable time, like 30 to 60 days, then you want to make sure that yours is a value of 5, properly positioned. Now, the next thing we have to talk about is the price range issue. Now, if your neighborhood goes between 180, let's say, and 220, 220 the high side, 180 things are selling on the low side, where do you position your property? Well, if it's somewhere between 195 and 205 is what you come up with, there's a danger in going too low or too high. And that is, if you, let's say you price it at 205, well, people who are looking from 200 on up are going to find your property, but people looking 200 and under are not. So you probably want to start on the higher side of 200, and then the next drop has got to be below 200. If you go from 205 to 203, you're not really attracting anybody new. What you want to do with a price drop is attract new people who otherwise weren't looking at it. So you start maybe at 203, 205. Next drop would be 1099. That gets a whole new range of people looking under 200. The other thing you have to be careful of is pricing it too high just to sort of test the waters. That's a cardinal mistake that people make. What they'll do is that, let's say the property is objectively 195 to 205 based on the competition, they'll go in and price it for 220. Just to see, mine's a little nicer, so I think I can get 220, or hey, I'm into it for a lot, so I got to see, what I can get for it to get my money back. No, 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 no. You don't price it based on what you have in it. You base it based on what the market will bear. You think the buyer gives a rat's petunia what you have into it? They don't. They want the best bang for the buck. So don't price it high and then think, well, I'll just drop it if it doesn't sell. What it creates is what's known as the stale listing. You price it at 220, everyone laughs. You drop it to 215, everyone's still laughing. You drop it to 210, now it's been a month and a half, and everybody's seen this thing 6 or 7 times, and by the time you get it down to 205 or 195, everyone's going, oh, that property's been sitting around for months. I've seen that one over and over on the MLS. There's only one way to fix that, and that is to rebake the listing. That is, take it completely off the market, take all new pictures, and then wait maybe 2-3 weeks and then relist it as a new listing so people don't recognize the pictures. They may not recognize the address and just see pictures and look like a new house. So you can, quote, fool people a little bit in that regard. Make sure, though, you do price it accordingly to move in a reasonable period of time. So if days on market in that neighborhood is 30, you're going to price it to move in 30 or less by making it the best value for the money. How you fix it up and how you price it is based on the competition. So before you even pick up a hammer, as soon as you buy that house, go look at all the properties on the block that are under contract. See what they use. Did they use granite? You use granite. Did they use stainless steel appliances? You use stainless steel. If they don't, then you don't. It's really based on the competition and the value for the money that's going to make your house move. Pricing it correctly. And by the way, that is the listing agent's job. If he does nothing more than price it correctly, he has earned his 3% commission. Putting flyers together, printing out stuff, putting it on the MLS, that's easy. Any dummy can do that. Getting the right price so it moves quickly, that's the agent's job. And if that agent can't do that properly, then it's up to you. Final tip, though. If you are going to interview some real estate brokers or agents to list that property in that neighborhood, here's what you do. First of all, you look at the signs in the neighborhood, see who specializes. You don't want someone who works across town doesn't know the neighborhood. You want someone who has the pulse on that neighborhood. And there's probably going to be 2 or 3 real estate brokers or agents in that neighborhood who fit the bill. You're going to call up each one and say, look, I'm interviewing an agent for the listing. Now, what the problem is most agents come in and they say, I can get you 220, and that's the one you end up listing with because you think you can get more. But, most of the time either that agent's an idiot or lying. You're not going to get 220. You're probably going to get 205 or 200 or 195 if that's really what it's worth. So what you do is you tell the agent that you're interviewing, I've had an independent appraisal done. And the real estate broker or agent who comes closest to that appraisal is going to get my business. Then they're really going to try hard to get an accurate number of what this house will sell for. You don't want it to sell for the highest value. You want it to sell for a reasonable figure quickly. This is Bill Bronchick, and I hope you've enjoyed the advice in this video.